Very good afternoon to you wherever you're watching us from. Welcome again once again to the THD online TV and Meet the Legend. Today we are at Salaji, the resident of one of the legends in the media. Well, by the time we do the introduction, you will know who we're talking about. This show is a show that looks at the life of Gambians who have done well in what they are known for. And today, we are here today. But before we go any further, like we always said on this show, keep following us, click that button to subscribe, send us your comments, like our videos, and tell us how you feel about our videos. We are here to serve you well. Well, thank you so very much tonight. We are in the residence of Mr. Malik Jones, a veteran broadcaster. This name keep ringing in the minds of young people in this country. Long time. Today, THD had the opportunity to come to his residence, talk to him for this future generation and our generation to know who this gentleman is and what he has done for the media in this country. Mr. Jones, is the content provider for Afro Radio. He does, some media work with Star TV and even have a show that he presents. High-profile show that talks to the presidents and also key stakeholders in this country. Mr. Jones, welcome to THD TV. It is a pleasure for us and this generation to talk to people like you, which will serve to us as just a point of entry into our careers. Thank you so very much. With the short notice, you have granted us this opportunity. We know you're always busy. You always have, things to do, but you give us this opportunity. Thank you so very much for granting us this interview.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Mr. Jones, on a brief but precise note, who is Mr. Malik Jones? Your born place, age, early school days, period, and thereafter.
What a question. Good. Malik Jones is a Gambian, born and bred here. I was born in Banjul, 2 Oxford Street. Grew up at 2 Grand Street because my mother died earlier, very early. In fact, I didn't know my mom. I cannot even remember who my mom was. Wow. So I was raised by my grandmother, who loved me so much, and always used to sing a song for me. Mm-hmm. I followed a set of 2 twins. So in the Creole community or in Creole society, when your mother has twins, the one that follows and it's not a twin, they call him twin bench. All right, so I'm a twin bench and I have a twin name which is Alaba. Yeah. Okay, Alaba is a very popular name in Nigeria, in Sierra Leone, even in Ghana. All right, so my grandmother used to sing Alaba File, Alaba Fale. It's like Malik here and Malik there. Okay, and this has just come to be my life. I'm almost everywhere. Yeah. So kind of, I will not say omnipresence, but I have been almost everywhere. And to be precise, I grew up, went to school in Banjul. Crab Island for that, my Wesley School first, and Crab Island, very brilliant at that time, very brilliant. Yeah. Finished school in Crab Island, went to Sierra Leone, did my high school in Sierra Leone up to my 6th form, skipped the university, which I thought was not, for me at that time, very important. And I told that to my uncle, who was the dean of the Forabe College when I had entrance to there, that one day he will be very proud of me. Unfortunately, he did not come to see that day. Eldred Jones, he passed away, a Sierra Leonean, but my uncle for that matter. I joined broadcasting in 1980. Well, as a result, it was a dream. Yes. Coming into broadcasting was a dream that I had. In 1962, I was 9 years old. John F. Kennedy was assassinated in the U.S., and I was at home. Then radio was very popular at that time, especially this big radio they call Gram. My uncle was tuned. Assassination of John F. Kennedy was a big news, and everybody was tuned, including my family. And every now and then there will come this announcer who will say, "This is the voice of America broadcasting from Washington." On that day, I fell in love with that kind of, that the intonation, the voice and everything. And I said to myself, one day I'm going to be like this guy. Eventually, it came to be. When I came from Sierra Leone in 1980, I worked in the hotel industry. But then I said, look, you had a dream, you wanted to be in broadcasting. I said, okay, wait, I'm going to meet them. So I went to Radio Gambia. I went there physically. Yeah. Then the Director General, who's a good friend of mine, then he was the Senior Broadcasting Officer, Marcel Tomasi. I went to see him. I said, I want to work here. He said, why do you want to work here? I said to him, well, I heard someone who read the news yesterday. I think I can do it better than him. He wasn't happy with that remark. We will normally laugh about that. Yes. Because Uncle Marcel is somebody I respect a great deal. Yeah. And I learned a lot from him as time went by. Eventually, I got the job in 1980. And since then, I have been broadcasting in Radio Gambia, went through every position. Temporary English announcer, assistant English announcer, assistant producer, senior producer, principal producer, until I became Deputy Director General, Acting Director General, Deputy Permanent Secretary General, Deputy Permanent Secretary, and then became Director General, back to Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Works.
Yeah, we have a question. We have a question relating about that. But you also had some time with Radio Seed.
Yes.
Yes,
I used to.
Radio Seed.
There was a time I had a break in Radio Gambia, yeah. And then I started to do a lot of freelancing. When I was in Radio Seed, I was also disc jockey.
Yes.
At the Combo Beach Hotel. There's a club they call Belengo. Everybody knows Belengo at that time, between 1986 and 1992. Wow. That was also the time I used to do the Sammy J Request show on Radio Seed and the Novotel show. These were twin programs that I did for Radio Seed for a long period of time. And then I remember getting back to Radio Gambia in 1995, just after the coup of 1994. Then there was need for us to go to Radio Gambia and work and take our rightful place there. I'll call it our rightful place at Radio Gambia. Yes, because the incident that led to us leaving Radio Gambia at that time was more of, yes, there were a lot of things issues, we wanted money, the money wasn't right, and we started having problems with management. Eventually, we were just sent packing. But then I survived because I had more money by being a disc jockey. I was earning something close to $3,000. And people at Radio Gambia at the time, no matter how senior you were not earning that money. So that was, for us, the money was very important, because you cannot go to work and you're being paid $225 at the time. Wow. At Radio Gambia, $225, which was, well,
when 225 was 225.
Yeah, 225, 25, but relate 225 to $3,000.
Yeah, that was a huge gap.
That was huge. Yeah. That was huge. So these were problems. I go to play in the club. I don't go early to work at Radio Gambia. Management wasn't happy about it. So eventually I was pushed out in 1986 from Radio Gambia. At 86, I started my disc jockey. Up to 1992, I continued my disc jockey. 94, there's the coup d'etat. 95, I went back to Radio Gambia. Up to when I became Deputy Director General, 2011, Deputy Permanent Secretary 2013, Director General 2016, up to 2018 when I went back as Deputy Permanent Secretary. So you see.
People who follow you during the time at Radio City just tell us sometime a unique story about your programming at the time. Can you tell me some inspiring stories that could be shared with our followers and regarding the heydays of Malik Jones
on Radio Seed? Yes, on Radio Seed. Yes, Radio Seed I used to like a lot because I came from a home with a big musical background. My immediate neighbor was the late Mrs. Alice Carr. She was the first woman who brought in the what you'll call the modern disc jockey equipment, 2 turntables on a console with a mixer in the middle. She brought it to the Gambia, and she was my neighbor. And she had a place called Q Club, which was just at Radio Seed premise, because she owned the premise of Radio Seed, Mrs. Carr. Her club was called Q Club. The place was called Q Club. A lot of elderly people will know what I'm talking about. And we listened to a great deal of music. So this music was not available at Radio Gambia. So at Radio Seed, I was exposed to a lot of different genre of music. Soul, rock, reggae, you name it. We had an extensive knowledge about all genre of music, and we built that in Radio Seed, and it in fact helped me in my disc jockeying, because my audience primarily at Novotel, Combo Beach, I had more tourists, and my knowledge of international European music Radio Seed helped a great deal for me to know a lot about international music. So Radio Seed was very, very instrumental in shaping my musical knowledge, especially in my disc jockeying.
We'll still stay with the broadcasting, time. When I was a young boy and up to my, young youth age, I've been hearing Malik Jones' tune, on radio, but most especially on football commentary. Where does the cradle of your broadcasting passion come from?
Well, again, it takes you back to my home. My uncle, my father's younger brother, used to play pools, and a lot of people come to him to forecast the pools. Then on Saturday, just like you found me watching my football. This is something since we were children, Saturdays, my uncle will tune to the BBC. Sports World has been, it's a very, very long time program. The sports program on BBC, 2 o'clock. Because that's where, at 5 o'clock, all the classified football results will come. It was read by, he just passed away, Alexander Gordon. Alexander Gordon. He will come Manchester United 1, Arsenal 3. But then, before the classified results come in, my uncle was tuned at 2 o'clock, and we hear a lot of commentary. We know about these teams without even seeing them. Fulham, Aston Villa, Arsenal, Manchester United, Manchester City, you name it. We know a lot about this. And my uncle has these pool books, these palm books, and then you can see the pictures. This is Arsenal, this is the FA Cup, this is blah, 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 So that helped. Then, I think, apart from that, I had a great deal of inspiration to one of my best friends, and every day we're in close contact. And, a lot of things have happened in my life which are a little bit mysterious. Sidi Jame was the first Gambian commentator. After he left, he worked for the World Bank, and he's still in the United States. He was the first commentator. And could you believe one thing? Between me and Sidi Jame, we had a relationship. When I was going to South Africa to do my first assignment at commentating on the world stage, we joined the same flight.
Wow.
He was going to Brussels. I was taking SN Brussels to go to Dakar and consequently to Ghana to connect to go to South Africa. We met at the airport. Then I didn't know him, and I heard somebody say, Sidi Jame, hey, Sidi. He turned around. I said, wow, that's the Sidi Jame. I have never known him, because the time I came to Radio Gambia in 1980, Uncle Sidi has left in 1975 and has gone to the United States. So I said, Uncle Sidi, he said, yes. I introduced myself to him. I am Malik Jones. I used to have a lot of inspiration from you as a commentator. Actually, I have been working at Radio Gambia, and I am a football commentator. I said, today I'm so happy to let you know that our dreams have come true. I'm going to South Africa to commentate in the World Cup. And he was so happy about it. And he said to me, well, try and send me the podcast if you happen to have them. From that day, me and Uncle Sidi are like that.
Wow.
And then another person who I must say I had a great deal of inspiration in the commentary is Sol Njai. Sol Njai came after Sidi Jame. Sol was the first one who gave me a microphone at the Boxbar Stadium in Banjul. Every day we go to box bar. Every Sunday we go to box bar. I sit down and we'll listen to him. One day all of a sudden he just gave me the microphone. I don't know what he did. He gave me the microphone. Uncle Sol used to smoke a lot of cigarettes. He gave me the microphone and he took off and lit a cigarette and went away. I was trembling.
Well,
I don't know what to say. Yeah, the first opportunity. I was like, hey, what am I going to say? But then, gradually, I was trying to piece words together. I didn't know, well, there he has the ball, but then he was in. I was in a haste for Uncle Sol to come back. Well, those are days that we reminisce now with a lot of joy, and we look at it and we say, yes, alhamdulillah, that we have been able to pick up the pieces, use those days to remember and do a great job during our tenure at Radio Gambia. And I was very closely with Peter when we were at Radio Gambia in the commentary, Boram Boj as well. Did a lot to help us, to mold us into the commentary.
And you just talked about something that is historic. Africa hosting the World Cup for the first time.
Yeah.
You covered the 2010 World Cup as a commentator. We know that the BBC shortlisted you for that historic event. How did that happen for you, considering the huge talents of broadcasters around Africa?
World, yes.
And Africa having to host the first World Cup for the first time?
Well, this is a souvenir from South Africa, 2010. This was the microphone I did my commentary with in South Africa. Since 2010, I've been keeping this microphone as my souvenir.
Wow.
There's a guy who works at the BBC called Farai Mungazi. He works in African productions at the BBC.
Farai Mungazi.
Yes, I don't know how I was connected. I think it was in 2009. I was in Algeria to cover the under-17 Africa Cup of Nations, which Gambia won in 2009. And I was doing some write-ups for CAF Online through a guy called Habuba. Habuba used to be the communications guy with CAF. And so he gave me an assignment to do some write-ups about matches and send it to him, and he put it on the CAF website. It was Habuba who introduced me to Farai Mungazi. And one day I got a call from the BBC. It was Farai Mungazi. He said to me, can you send me a demo of your commentary? I said, wow, okay, give me a couple of days. I had a very lousy match that I covered. It was in Serekunda East. It wasn't a very good match, so, because it wasn't very lively. But then I think what they looked at was, I was clear, all right? Clarity was there. The diction was also there. And I was able to give a good narration of what was going on. The ball-to-ball commentary, they knew that, yes, there's some potential here. And I just sat one day, they called me from the BBC. There was this guy called David Stead. He said to me, well, Malik, we want to give you an opportunity to join us in South Africa. Can you talk to your employer, which was then GRTS, whether we can use you? So I talked to the Director General at the time, the late Mormumu Sanyang. He said, this is a plus for the Gambia. I see no way that I can stop you. Go ahead, tell them you are available. And that was that. I left the Gambia and went to South Africa. There were 3 Africans. There was myself from the Gambia, and I'm proud. I'm proud that I did Gambia service on that occasion. There was a guy called Stanley Katsande. Stanley comes from Zimbabwe. And there was another guy called Ajuan Vidyati. He was from Kenya. So we were the only 3 very fortunate guys looking at the whole continent. You know,
first time.
Just the 3 of us, and me from the whole of West Africa. I give thanks to God for having.
What is the memory that goes with you from the South African tournament?
Yeah, I came to learn a lot of things. I saw a lot of things. I enjoyed a lot of things. I knew where it was safe in South Africa and where it wasn't safe in South Africa. And that is why, number one, I don't like Johannesburg. Johannesburg, I don't like. Cape Town is my town. I love Cape Town. The house we live in Cape Town, where the BBC they were given enough money by FIFA, because FIFA wanted an African voice to tell the story of African participation in the World Cup. So they had this huge mansion. I could sit in my house, or we could be in the parlor like this. When we walk out of the parlor, we're straight into the swimming pool. Can you imagine? Yeah. My bathroom, the floor was electrified, warm in the bathroom.
Everything was available. Oh God!
you had an in-house bar. You just go and drink whatever you want to drink, and just right stand there. I take one Coke today. I had orange juice, just right there. And the owner of that place is a white South African guy. He said to me, Malik, don't you ever pay anything here. Take anything you want. Wow. I said, why? He said, when you talk, I am happy. He will call a friend or two. Listen to this man talk. Say something. He just loved to hear me say something. He just wanted me to open my mouth and talk. Okay, there were bigger broadcasters like there. There were white people, James Copnall, Richard Fleming, Martin Davis, Connolly. These are big names, you know. The guys from 5 Live were there, you know. They were, name them. All the superstars in BBC were in South Africa in 2010, you know. Because, like I said, FIFA just gave them a whole lot of money. There was a lot of money in South Africa. Okay? So for me, I saw the opulence, the vast richness of South Africa. I saw the living conditions of the poor blacks as well. I saw the security that engulfed Johannesburg. You walk around, you find in you pass someone's gate, it's all barbed wire, and you see dogs that are like lions. You'll know that this is you don't have a mess around here. Move on, my friend. So in Johannesburg, it's like a prison. But then go to Cape Town, it's open, you know, free, people are free. But Johannesburg, no. Pretoria, I like. Port Elizabeth, I like, but I don't like it. It's just like London, it rains a lot. If you are too many, I don't like too much rain, especially when I'm, you know, in another country. Durban, I like Durban, but my prize city was Cape Town. Ask anybody who's gone to South Africa and gone to Cape Town, they'll tell you, I love Cape Town. Cape Town is just fantastic. You see Table Mountain, Lion Head, you know, it was just fantastic.
What were people saying about the Gambia, looking at the fact that this is a small country that has never played in World Cup, but here we are, Africa hosting a World Cup for the first time, and there is this only Gambia among the 3 Africans.
Actually, the magazine said it all, because Focus on Africa, they have a magazine, you know, that they published. Yes. And we were featured there. Myself, Stanley Katsande, and Arjun were all featured in that. So that sold us well before we got engaged in the World Cup. And there were trainings as well. We had about 2 weeks before the World Cup started. And we had a great deal of training. There were people like, what's it called again? P.S. Edwards was there. And I forgot 1 or 2 other guys who were there. So for us, it was just okay. I guess it was okay. I mean, we made Africa proud anyway, because the followings and the reviews that the BBC got, they were happy with the commentary. Because BBC has a way of doing their commentary. When the match starts, you do 20 minutes. The other one comes and does the remainder 25 minutes. Second half, it goes in the reverse. The one who started will come the ending the last time, and we do 25. So it was like that. And my co-commentator for a long period of time, especially in Cape Town, Pretoria, and Durban, was a guy called Richard Fleming.
Richard Fleming.
Yeah, Richard Fleming. Very good. He was at World Service. And there's another guy I did a commentary with in the game Ghana against Serbia, which was played in Pretoria. This guy is called Martin Davis. Very nice guy. unlike the others. You know, this is why people in BBC, they could be very snobbish. You know, they always try to say, we are this is our language, we are, you know what I'm saying. But Martin Davis was a different kettle of a fish. He was nice, down to earth. And even told me one time, there's something I learned from you. I cannot remember what he learned from me. But imagine somebody has commentated for the BBC for many years, retired, and now he's a freelance commentator, telling me, a Gambian from nowhere, where he's learned something from me. Whilst the other people like, you know, Capnal, Flemings, they all, you know, think that they're in the elite, you African bee, you well.
What was the feeling in the first day that you went into the commentary cabin?
Well, it was the first time I had a crowd like that. We're talking about 80,000, 60,000, 70,000, up to 90,000 spectators. You are in that. And you remember the vuvuzelas?
Vuvuzelas.
Oh my God, it was like 1 billion bees, you know, let onto the stadium with that like that. Yeah, it was something else. It was something spectacular, something I've never seen before. You know, and for me it was just something I will always remember.
And that opened the door to another World Cup.
It opened the door to another World Cup.
Qatar was another.
Qatar was something else.
Fantastic.
Qatar was the best.
Tell us what makes it the best?
Money.
Wow.
There was money. In Qatar, the money was there. Qatar spent almost about $380 million for this recent World Cup. And I work for QBS Radio. That's the one you see there, QBS Radio. As an analyst and as a content provider for the news as well. I provided content of the World Cup during the time of the news. And during the games, we go in there for match analysis, you know. And yes, it was great. It was the best World Cup I have ever seen.
We had a lot of surprises.
Oh yes, a lot of surprises. Who said that France was going to lose to Argentina? Yeah.
Who says that Morocco was going to go that far?
Of course. So there were a lot of surprises. It was beautiful. Qatar was just a great place to be, with all the negative things that they were peddling just to, you know, make Qatar go off their target of confusing them. But Qatar was, they had an objective, and they were going to fulfill that objective. And by the way, before I left Qatar, I was called upon by one of the biggest newspapers in Qatar, the Gulf Times, for an interview. And they put their the heading was it's on my phone anyway. I've seen, I mean, Qatar was just brilliant. So many people were there. The opening ceremony was fantastic. The finals was just one of a final that you can never, I've never seen a final like that before.
A lot of controversy as well, the LGBT.
Yes. Those were all things just to distract. Okay, it said Qatar's determination paid off. Qatar's determination to excel paid off Gambian journalists. This was by the Gulf Times.
The Gulf Times,
from Qatar. Yeah. Malik Jones presents his World Cup experiences in Doha.
And the Gambian flavor in that World Cup again continued to be you and Bakary Papagasama.
Yes.
How did people receive you, coming from a country that has never tested World Cup, but yet having an impact in a World Cup tournament?
For Papa, I think Papa did tremendously well. Papa is a recognized FIFA referee. He only refereed one match, by the way. Yeah. But for his name to be part of that, it's just great. There are super referees around the West Africa, people who have been there before him. But he had the opportunity because he's a good referee. He's got a great respect within FIFA and CAF. So for him to go to Qatar and be a referee of the World Cup, I think he's worked for it. He did very, very well to reach that. And I want to say, I want to commend him for that. And he will continue in that vein. Then Morocco, the Club World Cup. I was at the Club World Cup in Morocco, which was won by Real Madrid.
Real Madrid.
I was there. I was in the finals, Real Madrid, and it was Wydad. The Saudi Arabian team, Al Hilal. Al Hilal. I watched that because I was in
Goals were coming like rain.
Of course, brilliant.
That's a great stage to be to watch.
Oh yes, oh yes.
We will still come to the your managerial skills at GRTS, but I still want to stay on football. You watch Gambian football.
You really haven't come to my best part in Radio Gambia.
Your best part in Radio Gambia would have been
reading the news.
Reading the news. So those are all part that we are going to talk about later.
Well, okay.
I just want to keep you still on the football issue.
Right.
You've watched Gambian football when stakeholders were not many, when few money was coming from FIFA or CAF, and you have here again watching football when a lot of amount of money coming into football, and if not all, every corner of this country there is a blatter who feel or think is a stakeholder in Gambian football. And we've seen your contribution in the past, GFF election, where you feel there should be some development in Gambian football in going further. How do you describe the transition of Gambian football coming from the veterans to this generation?
Well. You see, I'm very critical. Now, I don't care what people say. I mean, I'm a very independent person.
Yes, that's why I asked this question. There's a lot of criticism, but you continue going on.
Yes. I have criticized the present regime of the GFF because I think for them, they have not done much to help the game. Now look at where the people they're talking about football is being decentralized. I wish you went to the places they say our leagues are taking place. Go to the grounds and look at the grounds. They're in a horrible state. What is the GFF doing about the grounds? Absolutely nothing. Look at the goal project, where they'll tell you that one room, to refurbish one room, costs about $200 and something thousand. You see the Gambian team that is going to the Africa Cup of Nations now, or the one that went to the Africa Cup of Nations, it's not the working of this present GFF. This was nurtured long time ago. This was during the time of the CD Quintes that you have these boys playing now. This GFF is just lucky to be there at the right time when the money keeps coming, but they did not work for it. They did not. So what I want to see is, I want to see football developed at the grassroots. You go to Banjul, there's only one, and if you don't mind, they'll lose that tough, because the port expansion project, if they don't mind, they lose there. But where? Go to Serekunda West. You look at the ground in Serekunda West. Go to Serekunda East, and you look at the ground. Go to the provinces, and you look at the grounds where these boys are playing. It is just horrible. Look at how many boys, how many young people are sacrificing their life, their jobs. Some of these boys playing football don't have jobs. They only play football because you cannot go and play football in Division 1. You go to training at 6 o'clock in the morning, finish training and say you're going to work to earn money. For me now, the football should have been professionalized. These boys playing in Division have to be paid. They should be paid. The boys must earn money. These boys don't earn money. My son is playing in Division 1. And I help him a lot. I said to him, look, I'll allow you to play football, but option B, we must have an option B. I'll pay for your ITs up to the highest level. Play football, study your IT. Play football, study your IT. I have my own laptop. He has his own laptop. I make sure he goes to the very, very highest level of IT. In the event this doesn't work, you have an opportunity, something else to do. See how many people have played football here that you can say, yes, he got it out of football. Very few, huh?
Yeah, very few.
Very few have escaped.
Comparing to
Yes,
sub-region
other countries in the sub-region. How can the GFF see, how can we help? That's why I like Kamaso. And I was supporting Kamaso during the elections because Kamaso tried. He took, I think, about 7 boys to Turkey for them to go on trial. That's what I want to see. A president who tries to open doors for young people to go out and get, somewhere. How many training academies do you have in the world? In Africa, for example, in Morocco. I'm just from Cote d'Ivoire. I visited the ASEC Mimosa Academy. Big academy, super academy. I was there. Huh? What is stopping them to create that relationship and try to make sure that some of these clubs sending these things, or even help the clubs, empower the clubs to be able to take their players and attach them in these academies? You cannot. When you look at African football, apart from Nigeria and Ghana, most of the players who manage to find it in the European leagues come from the Francophone countries. Senegal, Mali.
Is it the management or our infrastructure?
Infrastructure is one. Look at still yet we are still grappling to get things right with our stadium. It's amazing with the kind of defense they are trying to put up. That yes, CAF said they should fix this and this and this and this. CAF did not ban us from hosting a game. But CAF said you cannot play your game in September. But you knew that CAF is coming, you try to fix things. And when the CAF inspector comes in, you tell the CAF inspector that by the time we play this game, we would have completed this. Now you want to go and play your game in Morocco? Fine, we will all go to Morocco and watch the game. But how many people can go to Morocco? The crowd is part of the game. The crowd is a part of the team.
A lot of Gambia were anticipating to watch the Scorpion play back home.
Yeah.
That could be a big advantage.
Oh, of course. If the game was played here, the crowd was going to enable the team to win that game. If Gambia doesn't win Congo in Morocco, a lot of the fans will be angry with the federation and with the Ministry of Sports.
But the federation will say that is not their job.
Yeah, that's what they will say.
It should be done by the government.
It should be done by the government. But they are stakeholders. Government doesn't just get up and say, I'm doing your stadium. Government sits down with GFF, and GFF advises. GFF is a stakeholder.
What are our chances? You've watched football, before the Gambian team, when Gambia was Gambia 11, we were in the last Africa Cup of Nations. Any chance of getting into the Ivory Coast competition?
Here, all we need is to win. A win is the only thing. Even a draw cannot help us. We have to beat Congo in Morocco, Marrakesh. Wonderful city. I've been to Marrakesh. They're going to play at the Grand Stade de Marrakesh. It takes about 60,000 spectators. But
and Congo is having a former Gambian coach in Pol Pot.
Of course, Pol Pot is there. He knows the boys very well. He knows them. It's a tough call for the Gambia. Very, very tough game. I wish we win. I honestly want us to win. I'm working on trying to go there and do a live football commentary.
Anyway, by the way, we saw that on social media. Malik Jones with the AFCON.
Yes.
Yeah, already, there's a piece of that outside there, people watching. So we will hope to see that again there.
Yes, if we qualify, I'll be in Cote d'Ivoire. But I'm also working on going to Morocco to watch our match on the 10th of September.
Wow.
I'll be there, and my plan is to do commentary from Marrakesh to Gambia because we will not see the game.
Yes.
Okay.
And that would be awesome. Man.
I don't know. It's possible beIN Sports may show the game because Morocco is an Arab country, and these Arab people, they like to support each other. Maybe on beIN Sport, but nobody can pirate it from beIN Sport and put it on the television. Yeah, they cannot do that.
They can't do that.
So people will rely on radio Okay, and I don't know, there are no plans from GRTS or any other radio station to go to Morocco to do a live commentary. I know what it means. It means a lot.
A lot.
You take, it needs
That's
a lot of, even when you're there, the arrangements, the obstacles that are there, you have to go to the telecommunications guys, you talk to them, you have to fix this and fix that, fix this and that, just to make sure that you just have a...
There are a lot of things involved.
Or there are a lot of things involved. And any mediocre journalist who goes there and try, you sometimes, without the experience, you'll just find out that you will not be able to do it.
When you talk to the legend, like I always said, it's never easy or it's never enough to talk to the legend in 1 hour. But we cannot let him go without talking about his managerial, a job. You continue with your job on radio at Mile 7, but there was the birth of television, also twin with radio. But your spell with radio was more visible than television.
I love TV, I love radio more than television, yes, to be very honest.
But again, you rose to become Director General, yes, of the television station. What is your reaction?
Yeah, like I said, everything is about hard work. And to be focused. Okay, I know the system, I know Radio Gambia, I know GRTS very well. Very well. 1980 is not yesterday.
Oh yeah. When I was a kid.
Yeah, it's some how many years now? 40-something years now. The time I became a GRTS DG, I had already got 40 years experience in broadcasting. So for me to be the Director General, at the most crucial time, by the way, yeah, because it was during the impasse, that was when anybody would have said no to it. But I said to myself, somebody's got to be there.
It's a nation call.
It's a call of the nation, and I'm going to be there. And I was there. Until the end of the impasse, until the new government was sworn in. And then I went back to my previous job as Deputy Permanent Secretary. And during those times, those were crisis moments, because everybody wanted a bit of the television. And then former President Jammeh was here. He was in control. You cannot mess up any moment. It was a delicate situation and a very risky situation in my life at that moment. But I always asked God for protection and guidance. And God was there for me. And I thank God.
The family, how do you manage to convince the family at that time? Because not many families will allow their loved ones to go.
Yes, my wife and my son, my daughter is in the US, but they were all concerned at that time. But then the whole country was at a standstill at that moment. But Malik was there. I just had to play that part because we cannot leave it in vacuum. Yes.
With your background experience and knowledge in media and broadcasting, what could you provide as assistance and legacy to the ever-growing population of young media personnel arising in the country?
By the way, I was a lecturer. I have some students that are presently working at Radio Gambia. One of them is even in TFM, working there, and they were my students. The likes of Etienne Jatta was my student. Winifred was my student.
Whoa, Winifred?
Yes, they were all at Inside Training.
Inside Training.
Yes.
By the way, you did a part-time work at
yes.
Lecturer at Inside Training. So you're a man of many things.
Yes, alhamdulillah. All thanks and praise to God, yes. For long life and good health.
So what legacy will you want to leave to this growing population of the young?
Yes, and that is to always see that broadcasting is not an easy job, and that depending on what language you want to engage in yourself. If it's English language, read. I tell my friends all the time, read. Because even in football commentary, you need a lot of words. I say to them, anybody you hear saying is short of words. It's got a very small, the vocabulary is not big, it's got a big vocabulary. Anybody you hear say as he said, can't you say it? Why do you say as he said? Why? Say it. We don't say as he said. You say what you want to say. So reading is important, very important. And I tell my students, when you read and you come across a word you've never known, write it down, look at the meaning, see how the word is used, because some words you can use in many different ways. Some words you pronounce differently. Word and word and word, they all sound the same. WAD is lack of money. WARD, the word in the hospital. WORD, the word we speak. So you must be able to know how to pronounce these words. So that's what we have a problem now. But I normally say it's the background, your cultural background. My friends from Brikama will say kitchen for chicken and chicken for kitchen. Yes. Okay, Brikama. Yes, you see, sometimes your background tells a lot. You know me, I'm Aku. You will not speak better English than the Akus. You talk Creole, you speak Creole all the time. Non-Creole is broken English. But then, serious enough, your pronunciation, your diction tells on your cultural affinity and where you're coming from.
There are legendary gurus in Soldier, you mentioned earlier. Boran Boj, Peter Gomez, Tijan Masane, Sise, Jeremy Joyner. Are you guys on touch based on
Tijan? We talk all the time. Peter is a mate. There is somebody that is it's a legend. I don't know whether you've talked to him. Oko Drame.
Oko Drame, yeah.
Oko, musically, yeah. Musically, me and
many of our generation know him through music.
Yeah, we go through a great deal in music. Me and Oko were disc jockeys at Sahara Nightclub, Cave, and City Pride. We played disc jockey there in our early years, in our formative years. Yes, Oko, yes, and what else? Peter, we worked together. We were all in the same department. We worked together. Current affairs, documentary, and sports. It was me and him running that section at Radio Gambia, which we did for a number of years. I used to host a program on his radio station called Renaissance, on West Coast, Renaissance, and there was a rock program I used to present also at that place. Bora is a good friend of mine. In my early formative years, Bora was always there for me. You know, the ladies too, Nene McDonald, Jenna Nyang, Joy Coca, these were all people who supported us, wanted to see us through. And yes, when we went until we graduated, they were just happy that we made it through as well. So I always want to say thank you to those people. Really, they've been just great.
There are presentations, that was made to you, which are huge as far as your career in broadcasting is concerned. You have this ball. One will say, where are you there to kick the ball? But no, how did this ball come to you?
Well, this ball is the Rihla. Al-Rihla, they call it Al-Rihla.
Yes.
Now, in this ball, there's a sensor.
Okay.
When the ball goes over the line, the sensor tells the referee, that the ball has gone over the line. You don't buy this in Qatar. You will not walk to any shop and find it there. This is controlled by the state. It was given to me by the cousin of the emir, Sheikh Jassim, and his brother Sheikh Ahmad, alongside with the emblem.
This is just
This
beautiful.
is the figure 8 you see during the World Cup.
This is beautiful.
It comes inside this box here. Very precious.
Yeah, this is what we see on television during the World Cup.
Yeah, during the television. This is done in marble. There were two. In fact, Sheikh Ahmad said to me, I said to him, well, when I was in South Africa, I bought the match ball, 2010, and I gave it as a present to the former president, President Jammeh. I gave him the match ball. That was called the Jabulani.
Jabulani. Very the popular Jabulani.
The popular Jabulani.
Yes.
So they said, no problem, we'll give you two of this. One for your president and one for yourself. So when I came, I went to see the president and I handed over the match ball and this marble logo of FIFA. It's only two, one for myself and one for the president of these two items.
And a generation to come will see this.
Yes, my son said to me, we had a problem, my son. He said, I'm going to play with this one. I said, no,
this is not for play.
Don't worry, a time will come. If you're alive or if you're alive, your grandson can make millions out of this ball.
Oh yeah.
So let's keep it here. So this ball is kept in a special place alongside the microphone, which is today is got since 2010.
Yeah, since 2010.
The microphone is still here, and the ball is here now, coming very close to 1 year now. The Al Rihla.
And we continue to pray for your
the
good
official
health.
match ball. You don't buy these things in
So
in
next
Qatar.
World Cup again, you go and cover for Gambia as a veteran, analysis for, do analysis for radio stations or TV stations. Finally, what were your favorite words during commentators? What can you remember? The last time I had Tijan Masane giving some kind of words that others use during commentating.
Well, now you see, in commentary now we have resisted. We're moving away from someone scoring a goal and you shout goal.
Yeah.
No, those days are gone.
Go now.
Now you shout you shout the name of the player who scores the goal. Rooney! Oh, what a goal! It's a magnificent goal. Oh, it's incredible. Words like that now have come to replace, which some of these young boys have not yet tried to, So I want to see young commentators read more, watch more of the football, listen to the guys doing the commentary right now, especially the radio commentary. Because radio commentary and television have video assistant referee. VAR is there to help referees when they make mistakes. VAR will come in there. But the commentator also has the right to point out that the referee made a mistake.
Do you support VAR?
Yes, I do. I do.
Did they add value in football?
Yes, they do. Referees make mistakes.
So we need VAR.
We need VAR.
Well, Mr. Jones, thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure's mine.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
He's been our guest today, Mr. Malik Jones, a veteran, a legendary broadcaster in the Gambia. Join us for another episode when we will talk to another legend. Until we come your way, have a peaceful day.